Hello and welcome everyone to Get Complete Remote Manageability with the Intel vPro platform and CDW services. Please feel free to chat with us during the call in the chat window and let us know your thoughts. Today, we'll be joined by Intel SME Joab Paiva and CDW Solutions Architect Bradley Kerstetter. And don't forget, we do have some opportunities to get some swag, so connect with us in that chat window. If you have any questions, feel free to pop us up. And right now, we'll go ahead and jump into this VMU. Joab, take it away when you're ready, my friend.
Awesome, Jack. Thank you very much. And hello, everyone. Thank you for investing time with us today. So I'm Joab Paiva. I work here at Intel as a TSS, called Technical Sales Specialist. I've been working for Intel in the past 16, 17 years in different roles from engineering to sales. And today, my role is to support what we call scale partners to understand and talk about vPro and how vPro and vPro features can help solve some of IT pain points that we have today. I'm joined today with Brad. Brad, can you introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hey, everyone. My name is Brad Kerstetter. I'm a principal solutions architect at CDW with our digital workspace practice. So I have the privilege of working with customers of all verticals, all shapes, and all sizes, and helping them figure out digital workspace solutions that work for them. I've been doing this for over a decade, and I'm a specialist in the entire life cycle, looking at the hardware, the software experience, services, and then focusing ultimately on that end user experience. I'm looking forward to our conversation today.
Awesome, Brad. Thanks. Yeah, today our conversation will be about, pain points, IT pain points, right, that we're facing today, right? This transition from, working from the office to, COVID, the pandemic. Now we're getting back to some sort of hybrid workplace environment. And all these, burden, all these, stress that is putting on the IT, also on the users, right? On how to secure the device, how to, to secure the data for safe remote work, how IT will do the new user onboarding, right? How companies are, can keep at the, the front running or hiring employees remotely, right? Those are a few pain points that we, facing today, or IT is facing today. And I can mention many, many others, like support beyond the firewall, or how IT will support users that, I don't know, perhaps there's no VPN or wireless driver is no longer working, right? Or blue screen, right? How to how to increase pet saturation, right? That's a big, big pain point, right? So, and then to me, Brand, I don't know about you, but to me, one of the key things is, the customers or the companies that they don't adapt and they don't, move forward and they don't try to, to understand this environment will be, it won't be able to compete, right? I think those are a few things. Also, making sure that we keep the employees, we hire more diverse workforce, and at the same time keep costs down, right? I think that's a challenge for everybody at home, but also in your business, in for our employers, or for your own company. And also, things that we're thinking now a little bit more nowadays, which is, do our things and our tasks in a more sustainable way, to do our job and our tasks. Now, Brad, what kind of trends are you seeing when you talk with your customers about the future of this remote work?
Yeah, great question. So really, we see a couple of things with remote work, and we've probably all heard these before, but it's also kind of helpful to set the stage for what we're talking about today, as far as going over what we're seeing. So something I'm hearing more, and there's kind of two things really. It's number one, do more with less. Obviously, we've all been, tasked to do that as IT professionals. We're seeing a little bit more of it now with the uncertainty of kind of where the economy is going. We've been seeing some pretty high profile tech companies, freezing hiring and even reducing staff. So we see people trying to do more with less. And then we also see a lot of band-aided solutions. A common theme that I hear at CDW when I talk to all my customers is that when we look at this hybrid work scenario, right, we all kind of went forth at the pandemic and everybody went home and we did what we could to stay productive and we figured out how to make it work. At the end of the day, pretty much everybody I talked with ends up figuring out how to make it work. However, what we're looking at now is doing an evaluation of the tools that we're utilizing and the tool sets and our software. And we're looking to see how can we make things better? Because right now we just have this cobbled together, band-aided solution of all of these disparate types of platforms. And what can we do to bring this all under at least a couple of umbrellas or I mean, even ideally one umbrella of, looking at how to manage our devices and how to be more productive and how to, be better IT leaders in the organization. So when we kind of look at these things, we talk about where the industry is going. It's like hybrid work is ultimately here to stay. As we've been seeing, again, very high profile companies are saying that a return to office full time is simply just not happening anymore because we figured out that people can be productive no matter where they are. So when we look at this hybrid work model of people working from wherever they are is going to stay. And what we have to do is figure out how do we enable that and how do we continue the IT service levels that we've been, looking to and the ones that we even had when people were in the office. How do we continue that? And how do we manage devices outside the corporate network and the firewalls and make sure that we have full manageability of devices? In addition to that, and to kind of expand upon that, we're even looking at direct shipping technology to end users. Back in the day, IT would order a pallet of laptops and a pallet of devices, and they would simply hand them out to users when they came up and it was time for an upgrade. That doesn't happen anymore. Now we're looking at models where we direct ship to end users, almost like you would just order something from Best Buy or Amazon, where it's IT orders a computer, it goes right to the end user. And ultimately, I think all this is really going to tie into what we have to talk about today with vPro Technologies and CDW activation.
Perfect, Brad. Thank you very much. And I'm seeing some of the people talking in the chat, and hope we're gonna bring you some of the tools. We're gonna bring you some visibility on some of what we call BKMs, best known methods, but also the tools that we're gonna talk a little bit more, which is vPro, right? Where if you get a little bit of this, understand a little bit more on that, on this feature, on the technology, and how this technology can perhaps solve one of your pain points, we'll keep IT and us in the IT, or the service desk on the IT world, happy and a little bit on the front foot as well. So as I said, one of those solutions to help to cope with those pain points and also help on this transition for the remote environment, remote workplace environment is vPro, right? So first thing I want to address is what is vPro, right? I know most of you guys here or in gals, you know vPro by heart, even more than we both here, Brad. But want to give you some overview of the latest and greatest of vPro. So first of all, vPro, as you know, it's not a processor, it's a platform, right? Intel, we design the vPro standards, the guidance, where we give that guidance to the OEMs, such as Dell, HP, Lenovo, and others. And the OEMs, they build their devices, their laptops and desktops based on this, standard in this guidance. And after, we do this collaboration to design the device, the platform, we extensively test it. So this is the first thing I want to mention about vPro, right? It is, a preset standards of, features and minimum requirements, as well as extensive tests. And I'm reinforcing that because, one of the comments here in chat was about, how, companies treat IT employees. And, I think we in the IT industry, we need to bring, the best, and then we need to make sure that the device we're offering out there or suggesting to the procurement team to buy, it is not a consumer level, not a consumer grade device. It's a business grade device. And that's, the Intel commitment on the vPro platform, which is we extensively test that. It's part of the vPro features pillars, right? We're going to talk about the pillars of vPro, of testing with different operation system, different drivers, different workloads, but always thinking on the business usage model to increase, to raise the bar on the device and make it more, less susceptible to change. Now, so the easiest way to check if you have a vPro device is actually, checking, see on the device if you have the vPro sticker. On the Intel sticker, if it's written, if you see vPro there, it means that your device, it's a vPro device, and we'll have all the capabilities I'm gonna briefly mention here today. I'm gonna talk a little bit later down in the road about how to identify thousands and thousands of vPro devices in your fleet, which that's part of the what CDW can also help. But I'll leave it this for the next topic for discussion. But on a vPro, when you think about the vPro, I said about the pillars, right? The feature pillars of vPro. The first pillar is performance, right? Performance on vPro, it's all about, it's not CPU. How if my CPU is 6 gigahertz, 5.8 gigahertz, or 6 gigahertz? That's not the case. For us, performance is all about the user experience. So the business user as ourselves, or what I'm doing right now. Right? I have my camera on. I have, the collaboration tool in front of me, but I have my backup documents here. I have my Word script document here. I have a PowerPoint up and running. So this is what I need, to perform our work. And, we have different business workloads out there, as well as, IT experience. So at the same time that I have to do my job, I have my tools to do my job, Intel's IT needs to keep my device secure, right? So when you think about performance on a vPro platform, right, it is a combination on increasing the user experience, providing tools for me as an employee, as a user to do my job, but also IT to keep my device secure, to run all the thousands of agents running in the background and things like that. In terms of performance for the user, there are a few things on a vPro platform, such as we use AI, artificial intelligence, to enhance collaboration tools, right? Like Microsoft Teams, Cisco WebEx, Zoom. And AI, it's there, it's out of the box. The device or the application will recognize that it's running on a vPro device, and will tap into AI to remove the background noise, like dog barking in the background, or also to enhance what we're sharing to the screen, right? Enhance the resolution, or to perhaps help with the background. I don't have a background image here, but enhance the background image. Those are the few things that definitely takes a lot of processing power out of the CPU, out of the platform, and AI is helping there to increase the overall user experience. At the same time, for IT, if you're thinking about the 12 Gen, our Alder Lake platform, and I know most of you is aware on the Raptor Lake and 13 Gen. When you launch 13 Gen for vPro, you will see that our hybrid architecture, where we have the performance scores and the efficiency scores running at the same time, and Intel Thread Director controlling which application goes to which type of core, which type of CPU. Now, this is a way where we can also help to increase the IT, performance. So mixing both worlds and enhancing the user experience and IT experience. The other pillar, shifting a little bit on the other pillar, it's stability, which I kind of briefly before. But the stability for vPro is all about testing and making sure that we have a more solid and more robust platform out there in the market, right? And if you're using vPro and you buy a vPro device that is part of our SIP program, Stable IT Platform Program, right? We aim to freeze that hardware and the feature change of that hardware for at least 15 months. This is very important, right? If you want to decrease your costs of managing images. I saw somebody here put on a chat that I want to buy a pallet of laptops. Right? Yeah, but I hope in order to make it easier for you to manage that that palette of laptops, right? You have to perhaps buy only one model, right? And the idea is on this stable IT platform is to have that laptop, with the same components. Even if you buy, one today, one tomorrow, one in 3 months, that it's the same laptop and you can use the same image. That's where we can save costs, because you're going to see, you don't need to manage and have different images with different drivers out there in the fleet. Now, the third pillar, that's security. Security, I know we need 3 days and bring everybody into a nice conference room at a nice hotel to talk about security. But for us, Intel Security on vPro, it's all about the hardware providing that foundation to secure the entire stack. Secure, when I say the stack, it's on a laptop, right? Secure the BIOS, or put the BIOS on a safe place or an encrypted place in the memory, in the RAM, right? Or the firmware, as well as if you have devices or laptops or desktops with virtual machines, make sure that the hardware will provide the root of trust to secure the entire stack, right? And then moving, also still on the below the OS, we call those features, those security features below the OS, right? Meaning that, well, you don't have the OS, but you still have to secure some of the fundamental components of the device. Making sure that we can, secure the device for a code injection or a malware injection in between the virtual machine and the firmware, things like that. So this is the below the OS type of security that your OS or your antivirus or anti-malware software won't be able to catch that, because, well, they're not up and running. So this is one of the security features of vPro. Now, if we move from the below the OS to the application and data layer, right? It's helping the operation system with the virtualization and making sure that we restore all the Windows Hello credentials in a secure set, a place like a TPM 2.0, right? And make sure that we work out of the box with some of the key applications in the market, like Microsoft Defender, CrowdStrike, ESET, and others, right? Now, the other layer, which I think it's one of the most fun layers and most important layers for me, which is the layer that I can throw some buzzwords like artificial intelligence and machine learning, right? It is what we call the advanced threat protection. It is the layer where, vPro device will truly help IT to secure the data, to secure whatever the user is using at the moment, right? We have a few features. For instance, I mentioned artificial intelligence, right, and machine learning. vPro devices, they have advanced telemetry, meaning that we capture more information out of the CPU, Wi-Fi usage, battery, and a few other data. We build a model using machine learning, right? And then using artificial intelligence, we extract that from that model, a profile, usage profile. And we provide that usage profile to the security software, CrowdStrike, antivirus or any other, that we work in collaboration with. The idea is to try to find ransomwares or cryptojacking faster, right? Those are a few applications that requires, it's very hard to detect, and it's all about timing. Most important with ransomware, it's all about timing. The faster you can detect the ransomware, the less data you will get encrypted. Or on the cryptojacking type of malware, it is very subtle, the performance that it takes from the device, which it's hard to identify. That's why using AI, machine learning will definitely help. The other thing on the security, to me, which is also important on a vPro, is the ability to shift or to offload the memory scanning from the CPU to the integrated graphics. This is, to me, also crucial because it is also tied back to performance, right? One, the user will not complain about, oh, my computer is slow. And then when you do the troubleshooting, you know that, oh, it's because the antivirus is running in the background, right? So, and then it will also impact on IT policies and in how you want, the policy of running the memory scanning. So instead of once a week, perhaps every day, because you won't have a big impact on the user performance. Now, the fourth pillar, and I got there, fourth pillar is all about remote measurability. And that's, this conversation here. It's, remote measurability. There is one key feature of Intel called AMT. AMT, it's embedded in all vPro platforms out there called Active Management Technology, right? That's where, vPro devices can help IT to, easily troubleshoot devices even beyond the firewall, right? You can think AMT and this pillar as an independent computer running on, on inside your device, right? It has its own management engine. Its own processor. It's a Quartz processor. It has its own operation system. Inside the motherboard, all the routes are, connected to, have double route. So it's the ME is connected to the Wi-Fi. It is connected to the Ethernet, to the SSD. So it is a true independent computer that can, take control of the device regardless the operation system status. If it's blue screen, it doesn't matter, right? IT will be able to connect to the device and proper troubleshoot and remediate even if there is no VPN or the OS is down. So this is a little bit of the vPro platform. The key, one of the key features of the vPro platform. Now, let me throw this back to Brad. Hey, Brad. So based on what I just mentioned, all these vPro features, what do you think that vPro can add value to our customers, to the users out there?
Yeah, it's a great question. And what you were just talking about, the out of band management is the real key here. When we talk about value, the vPro brings to the table, it's being able to remote into a device no matter what the state is. Because when we think about it, all of our traditional RMM tools that we utilize typically require an agent to be on the device. So not only do you have to have a fully functional operating system, have the device booted, and then have the agent running and checking in with the server, when we're talking about AMT technology within vPro, you can gain control of that device no matter where it is or what it's doing or what state the operating system's in. So, in our demos and when we kind of talk about it, the device can literally be blue screen to the point of where Windows is no longer functional, even if it's a kernel level error. And because of the vPro technology, we're able to remote in and see what's actually going on. So number one, that could be helpful so we can see what the actual error is if the user doesn't understand, kind of how to give us the error codes. But then number two, if we need to troubleshoot the device when Windows isn't started, even if it's doing some basic startup repair that would be beyond kind of a user's capability of kind of running the commands, especially when we're in a remote scenario, having the ability to go through and look at the device's screen and be working on the device without a booted operating system is absolutely a game changer. That's where we see a lot of value in that out of band management and the value that this can add simply beyond a traditional, kind of RMM tool. And then in addition to that, we also see the stability in the device platforms. I think you talked about this it was either the first or second point, where we talked about the stability of the device platform. So when we look at vPro devices and vPro technology, it's part of the stable platform program. What that means is the hardware of that device is essentially locked in for a period of time to where it can't change. Where this becomes handy is when we're making, like deployment packages for, imaging, for drivers, etc. They're not going to change. And then also from even an Intel driver perspective, they're ultimately, that much more stable because we understand that there's extra development added to that cycle to make sure that everything is working and compatible. So as IT administrators, it makes it simple when we get a new device model because we know that for over a year, that device is kind of locked into where it is and we don't have to worry about, they're out of this wireless card. So they're going to have to, change the wireless card of the device 3 months down the road. which then complicates our images because we now have this device model and this device model. This one has this level of networking card and this one has this kind of networking card. And so, you all of a sudden see very fractured, imaging, and then we're having to make really thick images that have multiple types of drivers for the same type of network, et cetera. So that's where we see kind of a big value add from the vPro platform.
Awesome, Brad. That's great. Great overview actually on the vPro platform and then how it can benefit our customer. And on the same trend here, talking about customers, right? Let's talk about some of success stories here. So we know that vPro has gained a lot of traction due to its feature that helped definitely addressing the pandemic issues, right? We couldn't have face-to-face interaction, right? And supporting IT from all sizes. Don't think this is, and I've seen some of the questions here in the Q&A. Don't think that this is a large enterprise only, right? This is vPro is here to help, companies of all sizes, from small to to large enterprise in different segments as well. Brad, back into the customer stories. So do you have any customer story? Do you have any success story that you want to share or you've been seeing out in the market? Do you want to share a little bit of perhaps some best known methods here that you're seeing on the CDW from the CDW point of view?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. I mean, because this is where the rubber meets the road, right? In the real world, customers who are using the vPro technology with, these types of management, what are they doing with it? And so one of the great functionalities that we have with the software with vPro is the ability to turn on devices remotely, even from a patching standpoint. Because when we think about it, back in the day when everybody had desktops and they were all sitting in a corporate office, it was easy to enable Wake on LAN, and you woke all your PCs up, we patched them, and you made sure that they were up to date, and then you could shut them, they would be sitting there ready to go for kind of the next day. However, since we moved on from, workers who have laptops, people who then take them home every night, it's a lot different scenario when we look at patching and having the ability to run updates. The beauty of vPro is that it actually allows us to turn on devices remotely for a patching schedule, and to do so all through the Emma console, which we'll kind of talk about what Emma is here in a bit. But the ability to do that is really huge. And then, kind of what I talked about before with the remote KVM, really without the OS, gives us the ability to re-image devices no matter where they are. So the real that's kind of one of the silver bullets of AMT, if you ask me. Because when we think about it, as we have devices just scattered everywhere with our users, if something happens to that device and for some reason it were to need re-imaged, what's our process look like? We probably have to generate a return label for that user. We then take that return label, probably shipping it overnight. We ship that device back to IT. IT gets that device. They have to complete a re-image process, which in reality doesn't actually take all that long usually. They will then overnight that device back to the user, and then they get it. We look at the shipping costs alone to complete that transaction, and you could easily have $100 in shipping costs, even if you're doing a reasonably local, kind of overnight shipping method. And then, not to mention the downtime for those devices as they're having issues. vPro gives us the ability to remotely control that device and do the remote KVM and actually handle the remote imaging process on behalf of the user. So instead of a multi-day downtime and requiring a lot of IT, kind of overhead, and even, overhead from other teams like your shipping and receiving departments, we now have the ability to get into that device and do remote imaging from anywhere. So we look at a huge time, productivity, cost savings, and quite frankly, another thing we're seeing companies use it for is looking at their upgrades and their upgrade planning with Windows 11. And, something that we've been seeing is that, nobody's been jumping and hurrying to get to Windows 11. I think we all can agree with that. Typically, we skip versions, right? We skipped Windows 8, we went to Windows 10. Well, the problem is that Microsoft will be ending support for Windows 10 here, in the not too far future. So as we look at Windows 11 upgrade planning, This makes us more comfortable in when we're pushing the Windows 11 updates to computers, because if something happens during that upgrade process to the OS, we still have the ability as IT to get into that device and look at what's going on and potentially restart the process, or at least diagnose and figure out what's going on. It's a great, kind of thing to have in our tool set. And when we look at it, I mean, ultimately the Windows 11 upgrade should go smoothly for most users, but in the case that it doesn't, the vPro technologies allow us to get into that device again, whether the OS is working or not. So we're seeing real life success stories. And again, like Joabi said earlier, we're not seeing these things in companies that only have 20,000 devices. This is, not the case at all. This is useful for any company of any size in any vertical that has devices that are vPro capable, because this just makes this, extra tool in your tool belt just makes it that much more valuable to have, and gives us better usability on our devices.
Yeah. And Brad, that's this is great. A lot of usage models, a lot of potential usage models and implementations of vPro and Emma, and to help with those pain points. I noticed here that few questions. One thing actually, before going to one of the questions I see, I wanna kind of touch. You mentioned the remote power control, right? Turn on the devices, and then as soon as you turn on the device, regardless of the device location, you can run a script, you can push patches and things like that, right? Now, on the flip side, turn off the devices. It is something we should also need to think. Right? I've been to a couple customer meetings where, schools with hundreds of devices, workstations in their lab, and the workstation is running 24/7. Right? This is a huge. You have to have a nuclear reactor by the university to keep with the power demand, right? So having vPro devices and the ability to turn off those devices, right, and then turn on those devices back, turn off for a couple hours, nighttime. This is also something that where the technology can help in a more sustainable world. So a few things that are, from the Intel side, we're just starting to think more on those usage models and how we can apply the technology to to have a more sustainable work practices, and hopefully in a couple months from now we'll have some recipes to help in this front. Now, and I saw that one thing that I saw about the imaging in ISO and how to make that online. So yeah, that's great. I mean, you can use Emma, you can use AMT, to perhaps kick off a new ISO installation, as long as you have internet for sure, right? Or if you have a good internet bandwidth. But there are other ways we can implement that as well, such as you have perhaps a hidden partition in your SSD, right? Where you can just, change your boot options from a small image in the cloud or Linux image that can access this hidden partition, where you can call a new OS installation, right? So this is one idea to speed up the recovery process. Now, Brad, this is great. We think that our customer really taking advantage of vPro, right? Now we address the device, the endpoint side, right? Which is AMT and vPro. The other ingredient of this solution is a tool that we've been talking about, which is Emma. It's Endpoint Management Assistant. By the way, it is a tool where you can actually download from the Intel website, right? Emma itself is a tool that you have to install on a server, on a cloud, or on-prem, right? And Emma has basically two roles. One is to activate those vPro devices. Activation means you have to, set up those vPro devices, the endpoints, to be able to reach back to the Emma server and establish this secure connection with the Emma server. This is the one role of Emma. The other feature, or the other capability of Emma is to serve as a tool where you can where IT can log in, connect, and then manage, 2, 3, 5 devices all the way to 100, 100,000 of devices. So that's Emma, serves as a, a management tool as well. Emma itself was built using REST APIs. This is, one of the key, to me, one of the key features of Emma, right? Because of we have APIs, there are a few things that we can do. First, we can integrate with other tools, right? Emma is not here to replace any management tool, but it's to enhance. So if you have Spiceworks, if you have, Intune, VMware Workspace ONE, ServiceNow, the idea is to use Emma to enhance those tools' capability with the below DOS and out of band features, right? As well as because we have those APIs, right? Access, or we give access to those APIs and the features of the tool. You can build scripts, right? So you can also help to automate your IT tasks, as we were talking about. So you want to increase your pet saturation. Okay, turn on your devices, but you can run a script to access, that API to turn on your group of the devices, or, a specific set of devices, and then, push a software update or a patch update or security update, right? And I know because of this environment that you have to build, that's where CDW can help, us, right? That's I know, we've been working really close with Brad and the team, on trainings, on, making sure that they have the demo capability, they understand the entire tool, right? And that's where Intel needs, partners like CDW to go and be able to reach more customers, different customer segments, so they can build Emma and truly take advantage of all the vPro features which our customers, right, already purchase. So every time we sell a vPro device, AMT is there. It's just a matter of, put that a feature to work, and that's where CDW can help. Now, Brad, one question for you. So why CDW, right? What are the advantages of working with you and CDW team here?
Yeah, it's a great question. So, when we kind of talk about this and looking at kind of like the holistic device lifecycle, right? We understand that getting the server set up and getting Emma, like we talked about before, getting Emma set up is just one part of it, right? Because Emma is the thing that kind of does the back end communication with devices and what allows you to sort of talk to them. But a really big part of this, though, is figuring out how do we activate all of our devices? How are we pushing out the packaging to devices with everything we need to get those devices up and running and actually activated inside of Emma? And then the second part of that is when we order new devices moving forward, how are we making sure that if we're doing like that direct to end user fulfillment model that we talked about, where we're done with the old days of shipping devices to IT and they get handed out, when we're shipping devices direct to end users, how do we ensure that the AMT technologies in vPro are actually even activated? That's where CDW comes into play with our configuration center, where we can take the devices that you're ordering, we can bring them in and ensure that they're already activated. So when it ships directly to that end user, they turn it on and you have ultimate manageability of that device from the moment it ever gets to that user's hands. That's a really big part of it. And then another part of working with CDW is that we can bring other players to help build that comprehensive solution. Because obviously we work with a lot of different OEMs, and there are a number of management platforms that Emma even integrates with. So that way we can use vPro technologies out of the box integrated with other software platforms. And that's the advantage of working with us, is because we can help you bring all of that together and show you how that works to try to get it to be as integrated as possible. So that way you're not constantly logging into a bunch of different consoles. And it's important to know that as we look at these things, that there's no licensing fees with this. Once you order your device with vPro technology inside of it, it's ready to go. And at CDW, we can help you make the most out of those devices to get them up and running. When you go through this, and even more relevant today as we're talking about setting up Emma, we're actually, working with you guys at Intel to, actually do some funding for customers who would like to deploy the vPro technologies and set up Emma as well. So we have the expertise, we have the resources, we have the engineers who are trained to do this. And we can make sure that once it's set up, it's done correctly and it's done right. So that way, it's just we kind of do that one-time setup, and you're off to the races, right? If you're then ordering devices from us, we can help you, ensure that the devices that you're getting are being put inside of the the Emma server, and you're good from there. And we can help you make the decisions, that you need to make in order to smartly deploy inside of your organization. Because as we walk through this, there's a lot of different options. We can deploy it on premise. We can deploy it in the cloud, depending on what cloud you're looking at. We can help you make sure that the devices are usable outside the firewall. Obviously, we have to have some ports open, and we can make sure that we're helping with your future device procurement strategy, as far as making sure that things that you order in the future will work.
Awesome. Yeah, that definitely answer, Brad. Thank you very much. Now, let's shift a little bit to the Q&A, and I think this is the fun part now. For you guys that are watching us, please feel free to throw your questions on the Q&A. We've got a few already that I want to read it here and make sure that we can answer. And we have a good chunk of time to do that. We have 15 minutes or so to do that. So I have one question here from, and I'm sorry if I'm not reading your username correctly, but it's Chanko Deviops, right? So he or she is saying that I've been looking for all these options. Is this limited to partners, or how do we get set up for the Emma portal and get vPro fully up and and functioning for all our systems that have vPro? Can I remotely turn on vPro remotely? Yeah. All right. do you want to take part of this question, Brad, or do you want me to take this question?
Yeah, I can help with it. Absolutely.
All right. Yeah, go ahead. I can complement your answer.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we're looking at devices, for example, we can turn on and off. As long as when we're looking at turning on, as long as the device is connected to power and has a network connection, either through wired or wireless, we can turn that device on and control its power state, in addition to then powering off. So like Joabi was saying, when we look at places that have computer labs, for example, in education, although computer labs are starting to go by the wayside, I feel like, it still gives you the ability to schedule that turn off and turn on. So that way we're not, wasting all that power in the middle of the night, and ensuring that, you're just burning energy when you don't need to, and ultimately causing wear and tear on the machines as well, because they still have a lot of mechanical and moving parts. And if we can shut them down and kind of save some wear and tear on them, it's just better for us. And it'll kind of let things go.
Perfect. Yeah. Great answer, Brad, and that's my compliment for your answer. But let me add more things to your answer now. On the flip side, not on turning on the device itself, but if you're DevOps, if your question was all about how you can activate those vPro devices, then yes, you can activate those vPro devices remotely, right? The way we activate those vPro devices is after you set up. So you have to set up the Emma environment in your environment using your own infrastructure, right? And that's where CDW can help you to walk through this setup, installation and setup of Emma on the cloud or on-prem. But after you do that, what you have to do is you have to push an agent to your vPro device, right? That's how you activate the endpoint, you activate your vPro devices. And after that, then yes, you can turn on, turn off, go to BIOS, reset the device, push a Windows update, and follow the entire Windows update or Windows reset and things like that. So now let's move to the next question from Joey. So What level of in-band and out-of-band management is available in a vPro for non-Windows systems like Intel-powered Chromebooks and Linux? Joy, great question. We just recently launched alongside with our 12th gen, the Alder Lake, months ago, a lot of months ago anyway, a couple new vPro family members, right? In the past, we only had vPro. Now everything that we just, that we were used to on when thinking about the vPro features, now it's named, the brand is vPro Enterprise for Windows. There are two more vPro family members. Now, one is the vPro Essentials, right? Which is, it doesn't have the full, it has all the secured features and the secured capability features, but a little bit less on the management side. You still can turn on the devices remotely. You still can access those devices remotely, but not the full AMT capability. And the other vPro family member is the vPro Enterprise for Chrome, right? Where we're expanding the security features of the vPro platform into Chrome. So working really close with Google and the Chrome OS team to integrate those security features into Chrome. The remote manageability feature is still on the Chrome side using Chrome Admin Console, but all the security features of vPro will be the security features of vPro is enhancing the Chromebooks. Now moving from Windows to Linux, right? There is other tools. So there are a few things in our roadmap on when talking about Emma that we always looking into expanding for new OSs, But today there is a tool called Mesh Central, right? Where even CW can also help setting up a Mesh Central environment, just like Emma, right? Mesh Central, it's an open source tool where you can actually you have a Linux agent that you can push to your AMT, to your vPro devices, and then have all the out-of-band and some in-band capabilities on Linux as well. Hope I answered your question here. Now let's move to the next question from Robert. So is there an option to report on for security patch level for vPro? C-Suite wants to wants a quantifiable reason for vPro spending versus non-vPro, which includes how often patched, etc. You don't have from the vPro Emma, or you don't get those reports from Emma. Intel is thinking in bringing some of the Intel device health capabilities into broader integration with other tools. But besides the stability program, the SIP program, where we kind of freeze that device if the device is on a SIP program, right, for at least 15 months. That's the way you can quantify those chains, right, and last chains. They are mostly on the feature chain, so no features change for the next 15 months. On the security patch and the security chains, then you can go to the Intel website and find all the the security patches and things that we found on our platform. So Intel is very transparent on that. We have a very extensive program, even a bug hunt program to try to find issues before somebody else. So it's better to find them internally than externally, and we are very transparent on that front. Now the next question. It seems like everyone is trying to sell a solution of being an all-encompassing solution for IT management, but that is rarely the reality. Where do you suggest drawing a line for the departmental tool rollout? Good question, Brad. Do you want to take this question about vPro implementation and working together with different departments as well as InfoSec team, IT service desk, and then perhaps the C-level suite devices and how we CDW may roll out this implementation to
Right.
the entire organization.
Yeah, absolutely. We look at this technology and kind of see it as all encompassing because, as we were talking about, there's basically two levels to the remote KVM. There is your agent based, which has, when your device is booted, the OS is running, everything is healthy, you'll have a very, very fast experience as you're used to having with other tools. You have it's the resolution and the quality of the connection is controllable. And you'll get the very, very fast, very responsive speeds to be able to help users. And then if the OS goes down, you then get the out of band management, the remote KVM that's actually running against the special hardware that's in the device to allow you to do it if the OS or agent is not running. So how we see this kind of the all-encompassing solution, we see this working as this is kind of a one size fits all for the organization as far as remote management. And then if we want to take it a step further, we kind of talked about integrations. Not really the purpose of the call. I'll to kind of schedule a follow-on to talk about this. But, when we look at like VMware's Workspace ONE, for example, this has integrations into it to where you can actually do the management that you would inside of the Emma console through Workspace ONE. And it's actually all built into there. And currently, they're the only ones that offer technology like this. So like I said, we can kind of schedule a follow-up if you're interested to talk through what that looks like. And then as we talk through different departments, we typically, when we look at deploying Emma and we look at deploying into the organization, we want this to be the gold standard across the organization. Because ultimately what happens is if you have devices that can run, that have vPro and can use the AMT technologies, and you have devices that don't, what's always going to happen is the device that you need to fix or this department that bought these devices, the ones that are, super unstable, of course, Murphy's Law, they're the ones that aren't going to have vPro technology and aren't going to be able to be handled remotely and fixed remotely. So when we look at this, we want to make sure that we're trying to get everybody involved with this across all departments and bring in everybody to show the value of this, especially when once you purchase the device with vPro technology built into it, you basically own it. And there's no recurring, like I said, there's no recurring fees or anything to worry about from that standpoint. Joby, anything else to add?
No, I think you're just spot on, right? Yeah, different approach to different the departments, different teams, right? And it's a slow approach, right? And which actually ties to one of the questions that we have here. So how fast can we deploy, implement vPro from setup from the server all the way to the end user? And the answer is truly depends, right? Depends on how the internal customer, all the teams working together, right? How IT is actually managing that and pitching this back to the different teams. But usually CDW and the team can stand up a Emma server in basically 4 hours and actually deploy to a small POC of devices, 25, 30 devices, just to test all the features and capabilities, make sure that we can manage devices that are on-prem, behind the firewall, devices that are outside of the firewall, just to test different environments on inside the customer, inside your own organization, right? And then after that, create a plan to deploy to different departments, to different teams, right? So usually, a full 25 to 30 hours of engagement will bring vPro capabilities, AM capabilities into all the customer devices. And basically it doesn't matter if you have 20 devices or 20,000 devices, because what the process of deploying and activate AMT is by pushing an agent, which you can use different tools to do that. All right, and I think our last question would be I've been seeing a lot of people asking what kind of drink I'm having. I'm having coffee, right? I'm Brazilian, by the way. The way Brazilians drink coffee, it's those coffee shots, which it's not the way I'm drinking. I love the American coffee, right? A little bit more, let's go weak coffee, right? Not too strong in flavor, and that's what I have. I have in my office here. I have a coffee machine and and a refrigerator, so I don't even have to leave my computer. I can stay here forever as long as I have a coffee. So we're good. All right, folks. Thank you very much. Thank you for investing a little bit of time with us. Brad, any final comments you wanna bring to the team here?
Yeah, absolutely. Just reiterating kind of the final thing. vPro has no licensing costs, no recurring fees. Make sure you're taking advantage of it. And one of the easy ways you can do so is that obviously Intel and CDW have partnered up, to make sure we can make this happen for our customers. So I urge you to reach out, if you're a CDW customer, to reach out to your account teams to get a call scheduled with us. More than likely, you'll probably end up with me on that call, and we can do a demo. We can show the remote KVM capabilities. We can talk through what Emma looks like. We'll do live demos and kind of show you what that is, show you the out-of-band management capabilities, and we'll go through all that and kind of cover that for you. And then we can also help you determine what your current environment looks like and determine if you'd qualify for funding for us to do that deployment for you. And as kind of a final note, I urge everyone to visit cdw.com/vpro. Again, cdw.com/vpro. I think we'll put it in the resources here for everyone. Taking you to that link, you can also request a vPro call and you can put in a bit of information, but it will also give you white papers, case studies, and more information about the vPro technologies and how CDW can help support it in conjunction with Intel.
Awesome. Thanks, Brad. Thanks everybody for for staying with us in the full hour, and see you next time. Jack, back to you.
Thanks a lot, Joabi and Brad. That was a lot of great information. I want to thank everyone for investing time with us today. We hope you enjoyed all of the great information that Joab and Brad have shared with us. And for anyone that received swag, congratulations. And congratulations to all those that had their questions answered. I know that was information that you were waiting for. And as Joab indicated, that's all the time we have. Please feel free to reach out via the resources explained here during the VMU. And don't forget to check out cdw.com/Intel/vPro. Pardon me, let me say it one more time. cdw.com/vPro. We're going to say thank you for joining us and goodbye for now.